I hope everybody had a pretty decent 3-day weekend, but we still got to do the news. So following last week's mass shooting, 30 more people were killed over the weekend, 13 in Philly alone. Residents are now safer at Bill Cosby's house. So to tackle issues like mass shootings and this nightly murder, I think we should go to the very beginning. You know, our cosmos are 13.8 billion years old. Bet you didn't think I meant literally the beginning. But I figure we'll start there, and then by my estimate, we should be done with this monologue by the time William Devane runs out of gold. But to see what evil looks like now, it helps to see it with the backdrop of history. It might tell us what we went wrong in this blink of an eye of the last 30 years. Because something did. Sure, we've had horrible violence for centuries. Genghis Khan killed millions of people, but he also fathered a ton. Historians call him that era's Pete Hegseth. That's a joke. Imagine the Father's Day cards when Genghis was around, huh? Dear Dad, you conquered my heart and Asia Minor. Ivan the Terrible. He didn't get that nickname from not spraying Febreze after he used the bathroom. He was truly terrible. Glad they're not around to hear me riffing on him. And then there are the world wars. One, which I guess led to two. I bet you didn't think I'd be this thorough, did you? I'm a regular Julius Socrates. The good news, it seems we're less violent as a species, except for these spasms of mayhem and this ongoing murder spree. Or as George Gascon calls it, misdemeanors. But guns have been around longer than Wolf Blitzer or even Joy Behar. But not mass shootings, they're new. Kids used to bring guns to school back in the day, apparently. True, teachers' pets brought apples so other students could shoot them off the teachers' heads. I made that up. But we've had violence, weaponry, and evil, and that's just the Gutfeld family. But this latest violence seems new in this greater context. Why is that? Well, guns, screamed the left. But guns have been around, too. But it's that single variable thinking again. Right, Whoopi?
Listen, this AR-15's got to go. I'm sorry. And I don't care, NRA. You got to give that gun up. You can have your other yeehaw guns, whatever you want. The AR-15
has to go.
Is not a hunting gun.
It's a weapon
It is
of war.
not a gun where you're going to go out and shoot your dinner. This gun is meant to kill people. That's what it's for, and you can't have it anymore.
Well, as long as I get to keep my yeehaw guns. Gonna go out and shoot me some yeehaws. Anyway, she sold me. But now there's another new variable that could be part of this, bullying. Feels like that's gotten worse. And our solutions for bullying seem pretty weak. Pushing pronouns and colorful flags, something tells me that's not addressing the people most likely to kill. Real outcasts don't fit a trendy label. Meanwhile, the schools have been in perpetual decline for decades as costs go up. Kids would call it a pyramid scheme if they knew what pyramids are. And the really damaged kids are just too young to have a paper trail that might serve as a red flag when they try to get a weapon. So what about broken homes? That's new as well. Since the 1970s, we've seen society accept the decline of the family. Some have actually even encouraged it. And what fills those gaps? Well, you can have gangs, video games, TikTok. It's much like Biden's energy policy. We're going to force you off fossil fuels with no real alternative. Because the decline of the nuclear family is a loss of precious energy, too. When things go bad for a kid, what's he got to rely on? Gone are the mom and dad and brothers and sisters that served as a hedge against isolation. So he's got an empty tank. And what's he fill it with? Some seriously bad. So those are the variables: family decline, social media, alienation, loneliness. And they intersect to create both the nightly mayhem and mass shootings. These variables can't be observed by the media or the left because they're culpable. It's like a vampire looking into a mirror who can't see his reflection. True, they've wrecked more homes than Hurricane Katrina. See, with no father in the house, how does a young man learn how to handle his own rage? Sometimes he doesn't. And all of this violence could reflect this vital inability to handle disagreements in a civil manner. Civility becomes the opposite of manliness. Meanwhile, something else has arisen in the last 4 decades: cable news, where actions are amplified beyond anyone's imagination. You could be Ivan the Terrible in one quick and easy step, and the media obliges by making you a household name. And after all, isn't that what the youth of America want? Fame and fortune at any cost? Yet we blame the carnage on whatever's used in the crime. No one dare work backwards. But I'm old enough to remember when Democrats cared about root causes. But now who has the time? Hell, who wants to make that effort? I mean, it's only this country's future that's being gunned down. It's much easier to just blame that object in the killer's hand. But the last 30 years show you it's more than that. A broken household creates a broken person, sent to a broken, untrained, and ambivalent school, and commits a hellish act amplified by a broken media. Every action incentivized. The criminal gets back at the broken home, the crime makes the forgettable teen unforgettable, and the media turns it into content. The killers don't even have to make a demand. So sure, we can raise the rifle ban to 21. That works so well with alcohol. But until we admit that the problem is multifaceted, we're lost. It's everything our modern culture mocked: family, religion, even fathers. And that turned out to matter more than anyone admitted. When you have no purpose and you don't respect life or fear death. And now a thoughtless culture blames the gun rather than their own desertion of values. I guess I can't blame them, but I do, completely.